Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series with me, your host, Gyle. I'd like to start by saying a huge thank you to everybody who's contributed to the Indiegogo campaign for Galactic War. If you haven't heard the good news already, maybe you didn't catch the last video, or you have been on FAF for the last 24 hours and heard all the gossip, the project has reached target funds, so it is a go. Thanks to your contributions and Zep's hard work, it is going to happen. So I'm incredibly excited. As far as I'm concerned, it's the most exciting thing to happen to Supreme Commander since the game's inception. If you're thinking about donating and you haven't done so yet, there are still 7 days left on the clock for the campaign. So please don't be discouraged by the fact that it has reached the target funds. The more money that Zep gets in can only serve to make the project more awesome, so still please consider contributing if you were going to. On to today's match. This replay was sent in to me by TA for Life, my own personal legend and replay guru. Where's the rest of you guys? Send me some replays, come on. Don't worry about it if you're not a pro. I'd like to see matches from all sort of stages and different abilities. So if you think you've had a really good match or something that's cast worthy, send it in to me, put it on Dropbox, Mediafire, send me a link through the YouTube mail system, and I promise I'll take a look. I can't promise to cast it, but I promise I will take a look. Anyway, the match is between BC Clan and 3 regulars from the SOPCOM community who you will instantly recognize. So without further ado, let's head on over to Twin Rivers and see how they get on. Twin Rivers, of course, very easy to see where the teams are located. They're in bunches of 3, and we'll head up here to look at what we'll call Team 1. And you can see up here, rocking the breast cancer awareness pink, is Joker. He's going Aeon. And his 2 teammates are Chevalier. He's going in his Franco purple. He's rocking UEF. And my personal friend and legend, Freshy. He's going green neon, I don't know, whatever that is. And he's rocking the Seraphim. Down here for Team 2, BC Clan, we've got Blackheart. He's going blue Aeon. And then we've got his 2 teammates. We've got BC's Tiep. I apologize if that's mispronunciation, but that's how I'm going to be saying your name. He's going red UEF, and their final teammate, the Dream, he's going yellow FIM. And what I really like about this setup is the fact that it is a full, not only a mirror matchup in race terms, but the races are all matched up. So the 2 set-and-style players at the back who are going to be handling air, they're both going Aeon. And you've got UEF facing UEF on the left-hand side and FIM facing FIM on the right. Twin Rivers, of course, has these 2 side islands with 4 mass points on each. Vitally important to get control of those, but you can't just send engineers over, of course, because of this corner cliff face that runs edge to edge of the map. It has to be dropped in. And so no doubt we'll see some crucial stuff happening over there. We've got a couple of mech marines closing in on each other on the left-hand side between the 2 UEF players. They're going to bump into each other and run straight past each other. And probably destroy each other. Well done. So that's a nice little first engagement, all square still. And we've got Freshy bearing down on some of the resources. In fact, the Dream has also dispatched a engineer to go and pick up some of the resources, but Freshy is well ahead, and we can just take a look at how he's going to be benefiting from getting there first. He's working on the transports wrecks first, as you would expect him to do, and just look at that mass bar fly right up, and that's giving him such an advantage in the early game. And for you newbies, that is why reclaim is so utterly important. He's probably going to walk out of there with about 1,000 mass in his pocket, which is always nice. Never say no to that. Got a Selene combat scout coming in, which is going to harass him. Decides not to stay on and kill him. I think could have done if he'd have especially gone to reclaim with that engineer, but he's not too interested. But Freshy has marched his commander forward and is going to take out that combat scout. Is he going to hit the engineer as well? No, he's going to go straight forward. Obviously, he had set a move command here in anticipation of Dream being here with his comm. If he hadn't have been there, he would have punished him by setting up camp here, I imagine, to steal those 2 mass points. But of course, the Dream, as you would expect, has marched his ACU forward to hold on to that spot, and Freshy isn't going to try his luck. He's just going to waltz back in out of range, which is probably the best thing to do. Over on the left-hand side, we've still got some mech marine play going on between Tiep and Chevalier, but nothing serious. Got a little bit of an incident happening over here on the left as well. Strike is getting extremely lucky, makes it out of there with 35 hit points, and so it's going to give him a little bit of play. But over here, again, Freshy has started work on some point defense And that's quite interesting. So it looks like he's going to make some kind of base stand very close to the Dream. But of course, the Dream does have a factory up and running. He's also got some Thuis ready to go, and that is going to be able to outrange any point defense that Freshy puts down. I don't think he's going to be able to get a factory of his own up and running. So I don't see him, barring some kind of very poor work from the Dream, I don't see Freshy holding on to this forward position. But it costs him very little to throw up a couple of point defense turrets, and it's going to open up fire on the point defense of the Dream first, and it is actually going to take it out. So it's going to work in that sense. It's going to take out a mass point or two, maybe even this engineer who's been hit a couple of times already. Indeed, that goes down straight away, but the Thuis come into the fore, and that is going to be the end of those mass points. And Freshy isn't going to waste time trying to defend them. He's going to back straight on out, and wisely so. That would be a little pointless. Over here on the left-hand side, we can see Chevalier is in the middle of the upgrade. Let's have a sneaky peek at what he's doing. Okay, so that is going to be the gun upgrade, which is going to give him a nice advantage in the field in terms of damage. And down here, we can see that j0k3r has managed to get a land factory up and running, but the two engineers he obviously airdropped have been dispatched, and he now has 3 flares who have found the factory and are going to take it down at the pace at which fingernails grow. But that is, however, a win for Blackheart. He's got a couple of factories up and running already, so very nice work there. j0k3r has made landfall at the top island as well. He's queued up a couple of land factories with some engineers. Tiep has already made a start on it. Has 1 factory down, but he's got a couple of idle engineers. If I were him, I would be working on a few more factories, but that might not be a high priority. He has just started an upgrade as well. Let's see if he is going for the gun upgrade or not. No, he's not. He's actually going for the T2 engineering suite. So assuming he finishes that, we're going to have upgraded gun on this commander versus T2 engineering suite on this one. It looks like Tiep is taking a slightly more defensive posture than Chevalier, who has a lot more T1 units on the ground and ready to go, and is posturing kind of at the edge. He's kind of flirting with the idea of going in, it would seem. But coupled with the fact that Chevalier is going to have that upgraded weapon on his comm, that should prove quite nasty in the near future. So Tiep needs to watch out for that. We've got some bombers coming in now from Blackheart, flying over the initial column, gets a little bomb off, damages about 5 strikers, but doesn't take any out. I don't think he's going to get a second pass because j0k3r is on the case with his interceptors, and indeed that is going to get shot out of the sky. So all's fair in love and war, and it's all looking pretty even at the moment. And a couple of land units out for Tiep, heading towards j0k3r's factory, but there are a couple of Auroras on the case, and I think that's probably going to yield control. So the two guys are going to end up, the two back guys are going to end up with an island each, which is kind of how you would expect things to go in an even match. And by the looks of things, Tiep doesn't have time to put up any fight for it because he is under heavy attack in the middle. You can see he's down to 4,000 hit points on his commander already and forced to retreat thanks to the gun upgrade on Chevalier's commander. 1 factory is just about to go down, and it looks like that little forward base of Tiep's is in dire need of some reinforcements, but the Dream is sending some in. But at the same time, Freshy has seen those reinforcements move. He's decided to make an attack at the same time, but he might not have been aware that 2 T2 point defense turrets have gone down, and they are focusing on the comm very hard indeed. And he's down to 2,800 hit points. Freshy, you're going the wrong way, my friend. Please don't walk any closer. Oh, it's down to 500 hit points. He needs to hightail it out of there, and he just strays out of range at the critical moment. And I think Freshy just about doesn't quite have enough units to finish this off. The Dream has got his ACU there, and 2 T2 PDs, or 1 now, and another T1 up here, and that is going to be enough to hold that position. So I love the timing on Freshy's attack, but he just wasn't aware that he had so much point defense on the ground. Chevalier is talking about mercies. I haven't seen any yet. Indeed, I haven't seen any T2 air at all. T2 air factory is up and running for Blackheart. Not yet, however, up and running for j0k3r. So we've got a slight tech advantage in the air for Team 2. But he's not been able to make use of... Yes, we have the first Swift Wind out on the field. So if he can start producing those at some increased rate, that will give him an air advantage in no time. Chevalier, not wanting to give up the attack, is doing a little bit of a run by on the left-hand side. However, Tiep, making use of that T2 engineering suite on his commander, has managed to get a triad up and running in the middle of the field. So you can see Chevalier, not wanting to take unnecessary casualties, is skirting away towards the coast. It's probably a sensible maneuver. Excuse the taskbar popping up there. And a little bit of an air-on-air fracas happening here, and despite the tech advantage that Blackheart has, he hasn't been able to get Swiftwinds out in high enough numbers. So for the moment, air control still seems to be in Joker's hands, and he has actually managed to upgrade as well, and he's got his own Swiftwinds on the case. So there hasn't been any dramatic change of fortunes in the air. Now, Freshy, deciding to stay out of range of these point defense turrets, which is exactly the right maneuver, is skirting along the coastline. He's getting a little bit of a run by with his Thams and Thuis, which is the right thing to do. He's going to cause as much damage as humanly possible to the main base of the Dream. We'll just have to see how that works. Dream, you can see, he's got a whole bunch of engineers that are going to suffer hugely if they don't get some point defense turrets up and running, which is what they're trying to do, but they're all clumped together now, and that is going to be a nasty, nasty loss for the Dream. Indeed, he's got a whole bunch of baddies in his base. The question is, can Blackheart get any Spectres out to defend? He's still producing Swiftwinds. If he had some Spectres, he would be able to help his colleagues defend their base. I don't think he's going to get any out in time. Indeed, he has switched up now. He's got the first ones out, but I think the damage may have been done. You can see 3 mass points down there for the Dream already. But of course, the fact that he's managed to get these point defense turrets up and running, he had got another one going up on the right-hand side. He wants to try and block off this little route that this run-by used on this right-hand side from Freshy. It's definitely the next maneuver. And now there's 3 Spectres on the case. Joker's coming in with some interceptors trying to tidy them up, but I think he has well and truly thinned out the last of Freshy's forces. But the damage has been done, and Team 2 well and truly on the back foot at the start of this as we coming up to the 13-minute mark. They've been forced off their forward points, except for the Dream, of course, who's managed to hold on with these point defense turrets. But Tiep has been well and truly beaten back towards his spawn location, and that's a very grisly amount of forces, looking very nasty there from Chevalier. He's got T2 land, and he's going to try and outrange the forces of Tiep on his side with Flapjacks, the T2 mobile missile launchers that are beginning to creep towards the front lines of Tiep. But Tiep obviously has had some pretty good scouting intel, either that or he was worried about some kind of T2 mech snipe, tac missile mech snipe. He's got some buzz kills on the case, and I imagine he's just going to be hunkering down now and trying not to lose any more ground. The triads on the fringes, though, are going to be coming under siege from Chevalier, and he's doing absolutely the right thing at this point in time. Freshy not wanting to push his luck after very nearly going pop. He's going to get what looks like a little bit of a point defense creep on. He's got some shield coverage for his comm, which is absolutely the right thing he needs to do. He's seen the Spectres out as well, so he's got some mobile T2 anti-air out on the field to give him some extra protection. And we've got a lot of Spectres out for Joker, and that's going to work on this T2 naval factory, and that's a lot of resources that Tiep has sunk into that for literally no return. There's not a single boat has made it out of there yet. He's about to get one finished, but it won't last very long, that's for certain. And you can see there's some pinging going on. You assume that's Tiep asking for some assistance from Blackheart, but to be honest, I don't think it's even worth saving at this point. I think that is going to go down. You just have to cut your losses and move on. Chevalier looking to hoover up the mass immediately to add insult to injury, so very nice anticipation there. He's also got his ACU going into the water, which is quite interesting. Maybe he's afraid of some kind of snipe or something. But you can see the buzzkill's going to work, not as effective as an UEF would like. I wonder if we're going to see some kind of edit on the buzzkills. It always seems strange to me that the UEF, being the defensive race, had one of, if not the worst, tac missile defense. But hey-ho, not to be, and as Chevalier's incursion comes towards Tiep's base with an ever-mounting sense of foreboding, Tiep can but try and spam up some triads, maybe try and get some, I don't even know if he's got any energy storage, so we can start trying to overcharge it. That is a whole mess of nasty units just tearing through the base. You can see he's got a nice mix of Lobos in there as well to do as much critical damage as possible. Doesn't want to lose that T2 power, but that is an absolute certainty that that is going to go down. So Tiep, for all intents and purposes, out of the game. The Comm doesn't look like he's in any real danger at all, but rightly anticipate or rightly seeing that Blackheart is their real threat. Chevalier is trying to get as much of a run-by going as possible by getting to the back. Wants to try and take out these power gens to slow down the production of that T2 air that's been pouring out of that factory, with showing no signs of hesitation at the moment. But I don't think Chevalier has enough units to make that happen. He got a little bit segmented, a little bit fractured on the attack, turned into a little bit of a single file march, coupled with the fact that the Dream came in with some reinforcements. But every time one of these attacks comes in from Chevalier, Freshy pushes on the other side. You can see that little forward area that was holding out so well with the T2 point defense at the beginning has long gone. So Team 1 looking very strong at the moment. The only really real variable for BC Clan at the moment is Blackheart is looking very dangerous. They want to get rid of this one land scout at the back that's tickling away at this power generator. I don't know if he's even noticed it. But that's a whole lot of gunships on the field now for Blackheart, and they really need to do something to tackle him. It doesn't look like there's a lot on the field on this hand side of the map. I mean, Joker's got a nasty amount of swift winds. I'd like to see some kind of Ilshiva drop from Freshy with some guard from Joker for the air to try and deal with it. Because if you can take him out, that's 4 mass points down here, which would really put a dent in the economy of Blackheart and really slow him up. You can see the amount of ASFs on the field. I don't think there's not even a T3 factory up here for Joker, so he has yielded a massive tech advantage at the moment. He does have a lot of swift winds up and running. It's quite interesting that Blackheart has decided to engage with his ASFs over the base. I suppose there's not a lot of anti-air from the ground anyway, and he is winning quite comfortably. So they really do need to transition to T3 air as soon as possible, because at this stage of the game, however well it's looking like it's going on the ground, that you really do want to have air control, especially on a map like this with so much diversity between land, sea and air, and separate islands that you're going to need to defend. But Chevalier and Freshy, looking very strong on the ground, have pushed way up. Very nasty looking base going on here from Freshy. But still, I'd like to see some extra shielding there, because we have got restorers out on the field now from Blackheart, who's showing absolutely no signs of slowing down. A hell of a lot of ASFs on the field, so very dominant looking air force from Blackheart at the moment, who's really is carrying the torch for his team at the moment. And these little mongoose just getting picked off now by these restorers, and there's not really anything they can do to combat it, so all of this advantage could be for naught at this stage in the game. Lots of engineers out for Freshy, however, hoovering up the mass. Let's take a look at how the reclaim is going. Sitting on 13,300 reclaim, half that for Joker. Blackheart is around about the same amount. Tiep is on around 13,000 as well. The Dream has really fallen short of what he should be doing on the reclaim side of things, although he's got something juicy now. You can see that's flying up. But still, 7,000 is not really where you want to be when you're getting beaten by your mirror by double the amount of reclaim. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 restorers out now, and 7 restorers with a whole bunch of ASFs to cover. And have we got T3 air up and running? Yes, we do. So finally, Joker gets the tech up and running. He's getting an upgrade on his comm. I assume that's probably some kind of resource allocation. In fact, let's go and take a look at what that is. So it's yes, that is going to be the resource allocation, I believe. In fact, let's just make sure of that. Yes, it is. So he's going for a little bit of an extra oomph on his resourcing, which does make sense when he's trying to catch up with his mirror. But this little horde of restorers could cause real problems. And it's interesting, though, he's not keeping his ASFs in closer contact, because there are a few on the field now for Joker. Well, there's one. There's not a lot. And they're just so beefy. but they have flown over a whole lot of mobile T2 flak, and they were all relatively badly damaged. So Freshy doing a very nice job of the distribution of flak there. And a whole lot of swift winds coming in now for j0k. And if they could take out these restorers, it would be a real coup for them. But just not able to. Actually, almost all of them go down right at the last minute, and that's the beauty of flak. Such wonderful AoE, damages them all so coherently that it just takes a few fighters, and that's a real nasty loss for Blackheart all over. He's not being deterred. He's got another 6 out on the field already. And Freshy wanting to change things up, needs to be talking about getting some T4 on the case. To be honest, they just need to take care of this air issue. If they'd all switched out to some air with the amount of map control they'd have, they could really take this game by the scruff of the neck. But credit and kudos to Blackheart. He really is making a game of this. He's got strap bombers out now, so Team 1 need to be wary of any potential snipes from a little bit of strap bomber rush coupled with some restorers. That could really turn this game upside down. Still producing a lot of swift wins from this T2 factory up at the top left. j0k needs to commit to T3. He's now getting up to a place where he can produce ASFs at the rate at which he wants to. He's not having any power troubles. He seems to be keeping relatively stable on the mass side of things. But still, restorers causing such headaches for Team 1. Blackheart has moved his ACU forward, continuing to build power, air staging facilities, and as many point defense batteries as possible, as wants to assist his teammates in getting back some kind of map control. Freshy has advanced a little bit forward, has a shield gen a little bit ways forward from the previous shield gen, and looks like he'll be setting up shop there soon. That is, I love the look of the upgraded Seraphim commander. Look at how much of a beefcake that guy is, and he's wisely working on flak, because the biggest threat at the moment on the field is definitely from those restorers. But you also need to be careful. There's a couple of strategic bombers sitting back here now, so they need to get some scouting intel to find out what's going on. And having such a busy start to this game, it's extraordinary how much it's tailed off. Team 1 has really slackened off. They've been concerned by the rate of gain that Blackheart has been making. Look at the amount of engineers that Blackheart has got. Where's he sitting? 150 engineers. That's obscene. So he's got an extraordinary amount of build power on that factory, and you can see the rate at which he's pumping out those restorers. It's absolutely brutal, and if they're not careful, they need to do something about this. I don't know what they can do at this point. They need to both go, or all three of them need to switch up to air to combat this. j0k's doing a nice job of getting some ASFs together, but I'd like to see both Freshy and Chevalier start producing more anti-air stuff, and not just ground anti-air. I'm talking about air-to-air anti-air, because they need to shut him down. It's the only way to do this. And the window of opportunity for taking out this side island has long gone, because anything that gets dropped over here is just going to get insta-munched by these restorers. So they need to get back air control and then work on taking out the fringes and whittling down the forces with their own forces of gunships. But you've got a lot of ASFs on swift winds and interceptors on the field now for j0k. A real hodgepodge of air units, and just get the feeling that we're winding up to some kind of significant air battle. They will have experimentals very soon. You can tell that Team 2, the BC clan, are very surprised to still be in this after that beginning. And to be honest, I would too. It did seem like the game was over. But Team 1 just unable to capitalize thanks to the very nasty airplay from Blackheart, who's still working on power and trying to increase the rate at which he produces those air units. It's definitely the right maneuver to be making. We've got some Ilshivers that have made their way down on the right-hand side, pick up a couple of mass points, a radar station. They're not going to get too far now because of this absolutely nasty-looking horde of restorers. See how we're looking there. We've got 24 restorers. That is beastly amounts of air-to-ground damage. So, really, they... unless they can figure out a way, Team 1, to deal with those restorers, they are done. And Team 2 now talking about working on some experimentals. You can see Blackheart has started work on a GC, and he's asking for extra resources from his teammates. And you're going to wonder if Team 1 will be starting their experimentals at the same time. Can't see any as yet. Oh, there we go. We have a chicken that has been queued up from Freshy over here on the right-hand side. He hasn't started work on it, though, however. He's getting a T3 power gen up and running first. And we get some ASFs out for Freshy now at last, so it is looking like the longer this goes on, the pendulum could once again swing in the other direction. It is all going to come down to the experimental play. There's an awful lot of air power still in the hands of Blackheart. And a few Spectres trying to creep in the back door, get some mass sniping going on. But Blackheart is far too on the ball for any of that business. Let's see if anyone is helping Freshy out with the experimental. Not at the moment. So that still has a ways to go as it climbs up towards the 10,000 hit point mark. Whereas that GC is up and running and on the move. So the first experimental up and running is in favor of Team 2, the BC clan. And that is promptly running forward now. We've got a lot of spearheads here from Chevalier. The T3 mobile missile platform is very underrated. We've also got some Percivals on the case. And they are trying to overwhelm the buzzkill defenses of Tiep. But I don't think they're going to manage to do that by the time the GC gets into range. That depends which way he's sending. It's actually sitting up the right-hand side. Perhaps they want to cause critical damage with it first, rather than alert the Team 1 to its presence, which is probably quite a good idea, not least because Freshy is on an upgrade with his commander and he's still quite far forward in that shield gen. So this is going to be critical. If that GC can go unnoticed for long enough, that beam is the first inclination that experimental is on the way, and now they will have seen it. Freshy will have to abandon that upgrade if he wants any hope of keeping his commander. Of course, his commander is slower than a GC, and that is really bad luck, my friend. Freshy is ejected from the game, and that has absolutely turned this game on its head. A whole lot of strap bombers come in to help deal with it, and there's a hell of a lot of ASS for backup as well. It does look like the big air engagement we've been waiting for could be about to ensue. Despite the fact that it looks like j0k3r has more ASFs on the field than Blackheart, those restorers could be enough to tip the balance. And he knows about this. Hell of a lot of interceptors as well, going straight after the restorers, but having very little impact really. And that GC, oh my god, he's on 1400 hit points. Just one or two more strap bombs and that would have been the end of him. I can't believe he survived. That is, it's a cruel world, my friend. I feel very sorry for Team 1, who are now not looking like the favourites in this game at all. So very nicely done from Blackheart. Didn't alert Team 1 unnecessarily by going to help Tiep, who is now looking in a lot better situation. He's got Ravagers up front to get that coverage, and promptly working on a Fat Boy. And I think that could actually spell disaster, despite the fact that j0k3r is looking very strong in the air now. I don't think it matters. They are a man down. They've lost all of that bonus mass that that man was accruing on the right-hand side. And I think it could be all she wrote. So very well done indeed to BC Clan. And rather than try to rep up that GC, they control K'd it, and they're just going to hoover up the mass and probably use it to make another one because it was so badly damaged. And he didn't have any real rank on him at all, so his regen was going to be next to nothing. So why waste valuable resources? You could put it in something else. You've got the demolishers, which are heavy artillery, which have somehow managed to sneak in around the back of Tiep's base. I'm not sure exactly where they're heading to. This were literally to here. It'll take a while for them to set up. They want to keep shield coverage on them, but I'm not sure how much damage they're going to be able to do with them. Strat bombers coming in from Blackheart, and that will be the end of those. And the engineers just in there very cheekily erecting T1 point defense and reclaiming them. Little last-ditch effort there from Chevalier. He's got a nasty group of Percivals sitting in the middle. I can't believe, though, how well BC Clan have managed to do to turn this game around. It was very unfortunate that Freshy was in the middle of that upgrade, and also, I don't know, perhaps he didn't have his camera focused on that to see the laser early enough. But had he got out of there, I'm sure that GC would have just gone down, and it wouldn't have caused too much damage at all, and this would still be an even match. Chevalier has responded in kind. He's trying to get his own Fat Boy up and running. See how close that chicken was to being completed. I can't see any wrecks, so it was probably a ways off. But that Fat Boy up and running for Tiep is going to move into position. We've got another GC from Blackheart, and the plan will probably be, j0kr's got a GC up here, will probably try to march his own GC down, but assuming Tiep doesn't do anything too stupid with his Fat Boy, he should be able to keep that alive with some assistance from Blackheart, especially considering the amount of restorers that are on the field. And there goes the air advantage that j0k once had. So many restorers up and running with a whole horde of ASFs. A lot of strap bombers, however, going straight for a snipe. And it's going to be very interesting if they can get this up. They could potentially even it. Oh, Tiep down to 1,300, 1,400 hit points. Immediately starts erecting more shield gens. But there's so many ASFs and restorers on the field. Those strap bombers didn't get a second pass. And that is a huge penalty. A little bit of a Percy drop. What looks like a Percy drop. Yeah, it is happening from Chevalier at the back of the base. Blackheart, well on the case with it, has started erecting some T1 point defense, and with the amount immediately started producing Spectres at an alarmingly fast rate, and those Percivals aren't going to be able to do too much damage at all. A little bit early in a game, a little duo Percy drop like that could really change some fortunes, but at this stage there's too much build power on the field, and that GC from Blackheart's been heavily damaged by something, and it's going to go down to the GC from j0k. But I don't think j0kr's going to be able to kill the Fatty as well, not with that number of restorers on it. He will take down the shield, but that is all, barely putting any damage on the hull. In fact, I don't think any damage at all went on the hull of that Fat Boy. And that Fat Boy, now in range, is ready to do untold damage. And there's another one coming up from Tiep as well. And this has really turned into an experimental spam fest. Another GC coming up from Blackheart. And to be honest, that is going to be the end, I think, for Team 1. Pretty sure I lost this, Chevalier says. I think it took everybody on your team to lose this one, my friend. Not to say he didn't do well. It was some very nice play early on. And, you know, to get into a commanding position is just as difficult as winning it at the late game. So don't feel too hard done by. Fat Boy's now getting into range of Chevalier's base, and that is getting absolutely pummeled as structures start being set alight, mass points going down, factories up and running. In fact, you can see he'd actually donated a bunch of mass points to j0k. Obviously j0k needed the economy to help get air up and running, but it hasn't helped them at all. Freshy's previous mass points have been taken up by j0k as well, but it's just not going to make any difference at this point in time. Too much air power, and those restorers are going to hoover up Chevalier's base. And you can see that the BC boys seem just as surprised to have won this game as the others. Team 1 are about losing it. It's always nice, though, to pull a game back when you think you've lost it. Generally the best feeling in the world as mass points plummet So does the economy of j0k3r. Fat boys just getting into range now. Interestingly, not moving them up just yet, but that is going to be the end of j0k3r's base. Where is his commander? Sitting in there in the middle, trying to pump out as many restorers as possible, but it ain't going to do you no good. Not with two fatties, a whole bunch of restorers at your front door and no protection whatsoever. Boom! There he goes, and all of the restorers survive. Insult to injury. So, very nicely played indeed. He had actually, to his credit, managed to get up a decent number of restorers of his own from his side base over at the left-hand side. But that was never going to change the fortunes of their team. So literally the only thing left on the field now is Chevalier's commander over here on the left-hand side, who's just being a pain in the royal ass and trying to hide. See how long it takes the BC boys to find him. They're obviously aware he's in the water because Tiep's producing torpedo bombers. You can see the horde of spy planes coming out now. And it has been spotted and pinged, and he's on an upgrade. A few broadswords on the case, not going to be too much help. And there's a horde of T2 bombers descend, T2 torpedo bombers descend on Chevalier. That consigns this game to the dust. So very well done, BC clan. Very nicely taken. Snatched from the jaws of defeat. Well done. Entertaining to watch, as always. Like I say, guys, I'll reiterate it one more time. Please consider donating to the Galactic War Project. Even though it has reached its target funds, more funds will always be appreciated. But for now, that is me signing out.